Guys, girls, and non-bi pals, SMI. Take our TMNT Turtle Tots Daddy. Preference, Splinter, X, rear, Cares, Master Splinter, Turtle Tots, Michelangelo, Leonardo, Donatello, Raphael, Tony Kesame. Preference, Part 1, when Donatello wants attention. Tony Kesame Pro. I was sleeping with Splinter while the baby turtle tots were sleeping in their box makeshift bed, knowing we are going to be dealing with them soon. I sighed and got out of the bed when I heard a little peeping sound going from the box bed. Knowing one of our children had woken up, I looked at the time, and it was 7:43 a.m., meaning it was Donatello time to wake up. I looked at him looking at me, and I knew it was something he was looking at me, not Splinter, for attention. I got up, picked him up, and headed to the living room of our den, sitting on the chair, rocking him back and forth, looking at him while I was doing it. For the baby, he knew what to do for his own entertainment. I smiled and continued to do it, not thinking that Splinter would wake up when he finds out me and Donatello are missing from our little makeshift family room. It was now 8 a.m. when I heard a yell coming from our makeshift family bedroom because Splinter had said they are babies. We should, and I quote, have a makeshift family bedroom so we can be together in one room of the sewers. I looked at Donatello and he did the same, thinking, oh, Daddy is going crazy in the bedroom. I heard my other babies crying and Splinter shushing them, trying to tell them that Daddy is going to be fine. I laughed and Donatello looked at me like I'm going crazy too, but they did not cry. I sighed and waited for Splinter to carry our turtle babies into the living room to see me and Donatello here, just relaxing, knowing everything was going to be fine. We both heard footsteps and I saw Splinter walking into the living room, carrying a box with their sons in it, knowing everything was going to be fine. I sighed and looked at Donatello, making a funny face, knowing it was his siblings acting up. I looked at Splinter and he knew we were going to be dealing with our turtle baby tots. I looked at Donatello, he laughed and went cuddled up to me and went to take his nap. How are you, my love? And what is it that Donatello woke you up for attention? Said Splinter, looking at me with a smile on his face. He is sun on my lap. He woke up at his normal time at 7:43 a.m. Like always, asking for attention. I spoke, looking at Donatello sleeping in my lap. We both smiled, looking at our other turtles baby tots, doing something they would always do, and I knew it was going to be amazing. They were cuddling up to each other like little baby siblings would do, and to me it was quite cute to see them doing it. Look at our turtle babies tots, how they know they are siblings to each other. I spoke with a smile on my face. Yes, it is quite cute to see them act like this, said Splinter with a smile on his face. I sighed and looked at Splinter. We both knew they were going to have a nap till it was breakfast time for them. I sighed and looked at him, and he did as well. Knowing we are going to be dealing with them freaking out for breakfast time, I investigated the main area of our home and knew we were safe when I heard a little peeping sound, knowing it was going to be Donatello waking up for breakfast. I got up and carried him to the makeshift kitchen. I knew I was going to be dealing with this Delia was going to be doing this when I heard the peeping of Donatello. Knowing he was hungry, I tried to suck on my stomach. I sighed and looked at him, and he did as well. Knowing I was not food, but he was hungry. Let's see the one we got. Good. I walked and warmed up the milk and went to make sure it was good for Donatello. Then I went to feed him and in his bowl waited for him to start sucking at what he needed to eat. I sat and watched what he was going to be doing. I sighed and looked at him and knew I could do it. I smiled and looked at him and kissed his cheek when he was drinking. Knowing I loved it. When he was done, I burped him and looked at Splinter walking to feed our sons, Leonardo, Raphael, and Michelangelo. When we were done feeding them, they had gone back to sleep, knowing I was going to take care of them. Splinter, smiling, gave me Leonardo, Raphael, and Michelangelo, knowing he had to go and get milk for our little baby turtle tots. I sighed, looking at them, putting Donatello into it, knowing I'm going to be taking care of them like a good daddy should be doing. I rescued the little baby turtle tots, going to sit back down in the chair, knowing I was going to be dealing with my little turtle tots, and I had to go and do it one way or another. I kissed each of their heads and knew I could be the best daddy ever for them. I had Splinter aside, knowing he had to go out to the milk and got the stuff for us as well, and smiled to see me look at our children, knowing I was making sure they were fine. He walked to the kitchen and went to make something to eat for us, and knew I would love to eat it. I saw and looked at Splinter walking into the living room with food for me, but he knew he had to feed me because the baby turtle tots were sleeping in the box. I looked at him and he did as well. It started to be the handsome male he was to feed me when I was done. He smiled and kissed my cheek, knowing I was doing a good job as a daddy to my baby turtle tots. Splinter had gone to go and get something to eat, knowing he was hungry, and now it was 9 a.m., and the baby turtle tots were still asleep, knowing I was making sure they were fine. When I heard a little peeping sound, I looked down and saw Donatello was up looking at me, knowing I was taking care of him now and his brother when they got up. I sat and watched little Donatello try to scoot his way out of the little makeshift bed, knowing I was going not to allow him to come up with me, but I had to get help from Splinter. Donatello, I can't pick you up. Your brothers are still asleep, meaning I have to take care of all of you. I spoke, looking at him, giving me puppy eyes. Okay, what if when they wake up, I call up to all 4 of you? I spoke, smiling at his little gummy smile. I sighed and waited for the other 3 to wake up. When they did, I picked each of them up, and they enjoyed cuddling to my chest, like babies would do. I smiled and looked at Splinter walking into the room, knowing the little babies had woken up finally from their little breakfast nap. I smiled and looked at him, laughing, knowing they were finally up and doing their own thing on my chest. 1 more minute. Well, look at each of our little baby tots doing their own thing on your chest. I now know you're a good daddy to them, Tolly, said Splinter, looking at the baby turtle tots doing their own thing on my chest. I sighed and looked at them, knowing they were going to tire themselves out. I looked at Splinter, fawning over them when each of the baby turtle tots had gone to take another nap. I sighed and looked at Splinter to help me put them into their bed for another nap. We both smiled and looked at them, Sleepy and Splinter taking a seat looking at them, knowing it was going to be one of those days. Let's end it there. Hope you guys enjoy. Peace out, Ear Squad.